2018 into 2019 sees the National Theatre touring Macbeth across the UK from the 12th to the 16th of March is at Wolverhampton's Grand Theatre, and the director is with me now, Rufus Norris. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, and how are you with this challenge ahead of you?
Looking forward to it very much, yeah.
And it's not quite Macbeth as we know it. Macbeth's been done tens of thousands of times, number of different ways, but where do the Macbeths find themselves in your production?
Where they find themselves is in Scotland, but it's a very different Scotland. It's a Scotland now, perhaps 10 years on from now, after a brutal civil war, where everything that we understand about life has been taken away. So it is contemporary, but there's no electricity, there's no internet. Everything that we rely on has disappeared. It's a much tougher world of survival, and I think much closer to the original 11th century environment that Shakespeare wrote Macbeth.
And do we get some background as to what had happened, or do you just go straight into the story and continue telling their tale in the way you would normally expect to hear it in the Shakespearean works?
Absolutely, you just trust Shakespeare. He's brilliant because he's brilliant, and his words and his stories and his insight into humanity speak for all ages. But I think, again, particularly because he's talking about, with this play, a period of anarchy and chaos in the original setting of it, it's not hard to imagine how the world that we're living in now could turn into that very quickly.
And with the way this is built and the way you're staging this on the tour, it's going to be very interesting for the cast, the crew, and everybody who brings this to life in each of the 18 venues. How does that work from a directing point of view?
Actually, one of the challenges with Macbeth is that it's very epic. Mm-hmm. The heath, where the witches are, or where the battles take place, and then you come down into a very intimate relationship with the actors when Macbeth's giving his monologues, soliloquies, or when he and Lady Macbeth are working out what to do. Then you break out into a party, and then you come back again. In each place, we'll do a bit of reblocking, work it out, particularly with the fights and anything that's in the least bit dangerous to the actors. But yeah, we're thinking about that contraction and expansion from the beginning.
And you mentioned fights. I mean, where do we stand on weaponry? In 10 years from now, obviously the weapons are going to be slightly different. Ammunition may be running out if they were looking at using guns, but how do you approach that?
Well, again, you've got to go back to the text. I mean, there are some Shakespeare plays where there are fights in there where they don't talk specifically about the weapons. In Macbeth, they do. There's a lot of references to bring that fiend of Scotland within my sword's length, mm-hmm. etc. A lot of talk about swords. If you look at the weapons that people were making themselves in the trenches when their ammunition ran out, that kind of creativity is what we're playing with. So yeah, we're imagining the ammunition's gone, and whether they're swords or sort of homemade cutlasses or cudgels, things that people have made up and adapted. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of adaptation, a lot of reinvention of stuff that would go on in an environment like that, and does go on around the world, where you see these godforsaken post-Civil War places. Yeah,
where there's conflict, there's human nature to try and survive as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And with the whole look of the piece, and as far as costumes go, because back in the 11th century, the outfits are going to be somewhat different to the modern textiles which we'll see today. So how are you costuming your actors?
Well, again, it's, if you think about, if you've bought your last shirt, you've got what's in your wardrobe, or maybe even what's on you, and you're gonna, and a few years down the line, that's going to be a bit ragged. Mm-hmm. You might have patched it up with something else. You might have made yourself a bit of armour out of some magazines taped up to give you something that a knife won't get through. You need a bit of protection, particularly in Scotland with the weather. So the costumes are very much homemade. There's a little bit of glamour for the king. He's obviously got what there is there. Mm-hmm. is for him. There's one person who gets special treatment, which is why everybody wants that job. But yeah, it's very rough, homemade, and adapted from what we know now. So there might be a modern T-shirt in there, but it's had a lot of wear.
Yeah. And when you are putting something like that and you start then to get a reaction to it from the audiences. I mean, how do you feel they're going to take to this? Obviously, it's going to be an approach which they won't have seen potentially to this production.
Well, so, it won't be the first time that somebody's done an updated Macbeth.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't think I've ever seen a Macbeth set in the 11th century with kilts. Though I'm sure they've been done as well. That's the brilliance of Shakespeare. It will withstand not every reinterpretation. For my money, it certainly withstands this one. We just tell the story, and the story has to be crystal clear. People who love the play will recognise it. They will have the play delivered to them, and all the students that we hope will come who are studying the play, likewise, they will see the play that they're studying.
So with this, we can expect Shakespeare, but with Shakespeare with that modern edge. And I just think you're proud of what you've done here.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's very visceral. There's a great deal of humanity in it, and I think it works very well.
Well, we look forward to seeing that on stage here at Wolverhampton's Grand Theatre from the 12th through to the 16th of March 2019. 01902 42921 to the box office number, or grandtheatre.co.uk to get your hands on tickets that way. But for now, Rufus, Norris, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. Cheers.